So how do you find the players, especially at the beginning? You know, like what did you do to transfer like this vision that you had, but the players have to agree to come to the school, right?
Yep.
So how do you get players to the Midwest where it's cold and rainy a lot of the year, and you know, before you had indoor simulators and Rich Harvest Farm and Aurora, you know, Country Club, like how did you sit down and what would a player come to AU for at that point?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think what I was really big on was just being consistent with my message, but most importantly, I did think
The
we,
message being we're going to outwork everybody.
yep,
See,
100%.
that doesn't sound appealing to like a 17-year-old kid that wants to pick a school.
But the right players do love that, right? The right ones end up picking here because that's what they've wanted to do too. They might have wanted it at a higher level, but didn't get acknowledged, right? They wanted that D1 feeling or whatnot, but not all they didn't want to be the backup, right? So they love the golf side of it, the competitiveness side of it. I think it's really appealing to a young family to see a coach that might want it just as much as you, if not more. And then by the time you get here, you're going to want it more than me. But deep down, I think the biggest thing was the image locally wasn't special. Like there's kids that would caddy at Aurora Country Club that didn't know across the street was a true college just because the golf program wasn't winning. The golf program wasn't playing in big events. Like anything, we have to showcase those kids in big events or tournaments to prove that we're good. You can't just show up to a local duel and win every time and think you're good. So what I thought was the biggest thing I've always said at the D3 level, I needed to brand this thing outside of the state and then bring it back.
Yeah.
So if you look at my first few years, I had kids from Texas, from France, from Nebraska, from Minnesota, and now if you look at it, it's kind of getting a little bit of everything. There's a kid from 10 minutes down the road that actually is like, I wouldn't mind sticking around, which is cool. But I also want the kid from California because I do want a different flavor. I do believe there's cultures that bring different practice regiments and mentalities. So now it's kind of on the men and women's side, it's a little bit of a mosh pit of players, right? And that's going to make us the best we can possibly be, by seeing different cultures and different ways that they did it. And thankfully, it's selling to kind of everyone we're looking at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We want to go visit California or vacation. A lot of California kids are tired of being out there because of how competitive it is. They wouldn't mind being in that Midwestern flavor and getting a hug from a coach or the Nux, because it's not that we're not competitive. It's just a different mentality here in the Midwest, and those kids like come in and feel that. And that's what we're looking for.
Mm-hmm. What about that your first 5 years worth of student athletes? So now, getting to be like 3-4 years removed from their education and their athletic endeavors at AU, how do you think that playing golf at AU has helped them now that you can look back a little bit on those guys and women?
Yeah, I think they're just uber successful. And like, again, I think what I say it all the time, when I grew up, I kind of needed that thought of I needed like Northwestern or Harvard on my sweatshirt to get that cool job. And I still think that's somewhat true, but I also think nowadays it's connections, throwing yourself out there, giving yourself as many opportunities as possible, and then jobs come. And looking back, I'm just trying to think at the top of my head. I can think of 10 guys and girls that are doing exactly kind of what they said they were going to do. And it's like, man, that's special, right? And they're doing it at a high rate, whatever that means. They're enjoying life. I see that they're still playing golf and they're still being good humans and kind of doing everything the right way and still kind of keeping an eye on what we're doing too, which is special. So, and I think the hardest part about that deep down is they see more opportunities as we go and wish that would have been the opportunities for them. But what I got to remind them is these are happening because of you, right?
Yeah.
5 years ago made this team. This team's now, making new things happen for 5 years from now. And I always say that 5 years out of college at Aurora University will not look the same, I promise you, and I apologize. But it's not our fault. It's our fault by doing well.
Yeah.
And having that team GPA and having one of the best in the nation GPAs, and everyone that comes here is getting a job afterwards, right? Like those are the numbers that are the most important. Nobody's going to ever care about what we win or lose. I promise you that. I always say that. But they're going to remember, hey, you came here and still have X job, making X money, doing exactly what you said you're going to do. And that's rewarding.
Yep. What about, what opportunities do you now have at AU that helps the players with their game and then with life after sports? Because we know that at D3 level, like the sports are going to end and real life is going to start. So what opportunities do you provide at AU to help those kids to succeed after school?
Yeah, the golf thing we've talked about, it's just simulators, it's numbers, it's data, it's golf courses, it's just everything that you can possibly have, they have it.
Forget the golf.
Yep, it's there. It's
Yeah.
good. Afterwards, it's just like anything, the school's growing too. It's, there's more internships, there's more opportunities, there's more professors, there's more full-time professors, there's more people that invested. Not that it wasn't 20 years ago, but it just looks different, in every angle. But being in the golf business, I thought what I did well on my end was like I built my relationships at the golf courses and then turned that into like every time I get a perk, I turn that into trying to help my players instead of using it for me. Hey, coach, you want to go play X, Y, and Z? Not really. I'm busy, but do you have any internships this summer? Well, that's not what I asked you. Well, that's what I'm asking you. Like, do you have anything that I'd rather get Johnny over here or Ellie over here if possible working for you this summer? Because I know you're really good at your job too. And if they don't want it, that's fine. But at least we teed it up for them to maybe get an interview. And, so I think I've turned that into that. And now my players have turned into these machines of like, they can interview well and they can handle themselves on the golf course and they're handling themselves well in the classroom. I mean, I walked the halls for 3 hours this morning and it's like 2 professors stopped me. Oh, I got so-and-so in my classroom. And it's like, I already know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
It's not going to be negative, right? It's not, they're showing up late. It's not that they're not in class. It's, I saw they're really good at golf too. It's like, yeah, they're pretty good. Like, I'm glad you read the article on them or whatever. But,
yeah,
it's kind of becoming, I think professors want to help that program because they see we're doing good things too more so, and it's just a cool community that like everyone's kind of batting for you if you want to be batted for, instead of sleeping in, show up to class. These people want to kind of brag about you instead of like, there's the guy in the back with the gray sweatshirt, not even paying attention. We got some of those days too, I'm sure, but deep down, it's just, there's so many opportunities with the, Aurora Country Club and the membership and Rich Harvest and the membership and potential drive there. Those people like dream to have a student athlete, let alone someone that's handling themselves well on the golf course, filling divots, just doing the simplicity stuff. They're doing it the right way, and all of a sudden, like, that'd be probably a good hire. And then it ends up being a great hire, right? And then it's like, thanks, coach, do you have anyone more? And now It's like, I feel bad that I don't have someone that might want to get in real estate, right? Or whatever. I don't have one right now. So, but I promise when I do, I'll shoot them at you, Yep. So, yeah, I think deep down, my 3 or 4 best golfers will be close friends and whatever, but I still think 12, 13, 14, 15 on my team will have jobs that are braggable and just as worthy and someone that I'll be able to talk about long term, and that's what's cool.